Welcome to Just Ranked, your favorite show where every week we have a different topic, and of that topic we pick our favorite 4 songs of that topic. This week is 1987, and I'm going to tell you right now, this is by far the hardest list we've ever had for me. Why? Have you thought about 1987? We're talking about Joshua Tree by U2. We're talking about Sign of the Times by Prince. We're talking about Bad by Michael Jackson. We're talking about Hysteria by Def Leppard. We're talking about Faith by George Michael. We're talking about Whitney Houston. We're talking about Tango in the Night by Fleetwood Mac. There's so many good songs. Beyond that, there's even more amazing albums. You know, albums when they used to matter. And I preach about that all the time. But I'm telling you right now, holy shit, this might be, hold on, put your seatbelts on, put your smoking jackets on, bring your stogies. This might be our longest episode yet because we're talking about 1987, the best 4 songs, not albums, best 4 songs from the year 1987, which I will say is probably... Now, I'm going to say it's definitely one of the best years ever for music. And we're talking about legendary years, 1971, 1967, 1972, when I was born. 1987. Look through these lists, people. We'll put them in the show notes. Just so many goddamn good albums. Not talking about just songs, just albums alone.
Wow, he's swearing.
Just a preview of my tracks. You're going to hear not one Prince song. Not one.
Get out of the city.
It's going to be 1987 sans Prince.
Get
You're going to hear about a rock band who decided to get political, who wasn't political. You're going to hear about a guitarist that Marvel Comics decided to pay homage to. You're going to hear about singers whose entire album was banned. You're going to hear about a legendary duet who I don't think that gets enough credit in the United States.
What?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. 1987.
Yeah, baby.
But you know what? I go last.
And all that, I'll see you later.
Wait.
Nice crescendo.
After all, that was fantastic.
Fucking right. So to start us off, I believe it is Jimmy, correct?
It is me.
He told me not 3 minutes ago it was him. I was
just Jimmy,
I'm first. I'm going to tell you, get started off on the greatest year. I will say the greatest year we've done so far, 1987.
And with that,
yeah, wow, that's not going to talk about any of those things that he mentioned.
Right. No Marvel, no band. I just decided that I'm really going to show my true persona here today. I'm going to go to where my heart truly lies. I'm going to go kind of quick, so if you guys don't interrupt my first 4 picks, you will be thankful. But I promise, I just need some silence here because I am going to bare my heart to you guys, okay?
I'm going to mute my mic then.
All right. So, with my number 4 pick,
the one guy who doesn't interrupt anyone, it's going to mute his mic.
Wait, you have a voice?
Right, Captain One-Liners.
All right. No, hold on. I gotta bring it in. I'm being totally serious here.
Yes, let's do it.
My number 4. Only in my dreams, Debbie Gibson. And that's number 4. Right. Nope. Number 3, Lady in Red, Krista Berg. Nope.
Oh.
Number 2, Lean on Me, Club Nouveau. Nope. Number 1, I'm going for my hometown heroes. You got it all. The Jets.
Oh,
Fuck
Yeah.
that. That's not my list.
I was
That's
gonna
not where I'm going.
say,
Wah, wah.
maybe Debbie, but there's no way Club Nouveau's in there.
Did you just say there may be Debbie?
That was Dallas.
You don't know me,
Dishes.
right? Just like Vanilla Ice said in Cool as Ice, you don't know me. You don't know me at all.
Do it. Bring it.
Not a
Bring
good
the
start.
metal.
All right, here we go. I'm a metal fan, so it's going to be hard rock. All right. So, cut to the chase. Number 4, The Cult, Wildflower from Electric. I love this album. It's from the their third album. Rick Rubin played a critical role in changing their complete sound. They went from an alt rock sound to a rock sound. Really, really powerful voice in Asbury. I have seen all of my picks that I'm going to say live, and it made me love them even more. Ian Asbury, his vocals are huge. They're powerful. The Cult fell apart. He ended up joining the 21st Century Doors with members of the Doors and toured with them for, I think it was 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite song by them is She Sells Sanctuary. Say that 5 times fast. My favorite song. But Wildflower, that
Riff
just
rock, baby.
powerful. You knew where the song was going to go. You knew where it was going to end. There were no surprises. It was just kind of ballsy in your face in comparison to their earlier sound. The first formation of this band was called the Southern Death Cult, then changed to the Death Cult, and then became the Cult in 1984. I'm a big fan of their middle chunk. The really early stuff, not a big fan of. Their latter stuff, not a big fan of. But Sonic Temple, Electric, Love, those 3 albums have just huge place in my heart. I'm a big fan of that. You guys, now you can talk.
I think that album is again one of those ones that you can listen to start to finish. Electric is amazing. It's one of those. I think it's a perfect album. I love that album.
Love Removal Machine, Peace Frog, just.
Electric Ocean's my favorite off it. Yeah, Little Devil.
Little Devil, yeah.
Jacket.
I forgot about that.
Oh, so good, right? The Born to Be Wild cover, like it is so good.
That is probably my favorite song off that album. Might be the cover.
Oh.
Yeah, actually, it was my introduction to the band. Yeah, so it's a great album from start to finish.
Yeah, one of my first actual bands. I was in a couple bands previous to this band. It was called Hemlock. We played this song. And it was our fan favorite. Everyone's like, "Oh yes, play this. This is awesome!" And it was a hype song for us, and really, really enjoyed playing this song. Even though it was more of a kind of a laid-back, sedate style song for us at the time, loved it. It was a great breather song. If you know what a breather song is where you're playing something a little up tempo, lot more changes. You have to think. This is just more okay. Now I can just lay back in the pocket and take a breath and not even have to think, except for those. That's it.
Again, like that song, but that album too is one of those ones that I remember different groups of people liking: hard rock, heavy metal, pop rock guys. Like, we'd be at a party and everybody would like when something from Electric would come on.
Yep. Yeah, it made you jump up.
Yeah, it did. Great pick, man. Like I said,
you're Wolf Child, man. It's fucking good.
The Cult in that again, from start to finish.
For you, Dink.
You know it. Oh,
all right. So we're going to number 3. I've talked about this in the past, maybe not so much recently with some of the topics, but there comes a band that into your audio file, and it changes how you listen, what you like, and it brings new life into your music world. And with that, it is Anthrax. Anthrax, I love Anthrax from beginning. Well, Fistful of Metal, not the greatest album, but Spreading the Disease, I would probably pick that one first, play out of their whole discography. And Sound of White Noise, I would probably pick that one second. But Among the Living in 1987, I was working at the grocery store, Hookers and Cocaine. When this came out, and I fucking loved this album. The song is Indians. It's their signature sound. I have played this song live. I have seen them several times. I adore the song. I mean, I loved Dan Spitz. He's not with the band anymore. I loved his sound that he had. I believe they kind of lost it a bit when he left because that Sound of White Noise, his guitar tone was amazing. But on this album, Among the Living, beautiful tone, clear, precise leads. Joey Belladonna's voice. I love Joey Belladonna's voice. I know Joe's talked about him in the past. Yeah. The B-side of Indians was Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. And that is my second favorite song from the time period. And it was released in the same year on I'm the Man. Yeah, I love Anthrax. What do you guys got to say about that?
You know, I think I don't know if we've talked about like in a pre-show or during a show, but I've said a lot of those bands, we used to call them thrash bands back in the day, haven't aged well. I used to love Testament. Not a fan anymore. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. No, the Legacy and the Ritual. Love those songs.
I used to love Megadeth, and now we talked about before how Dave's voice is kind of grating. Metallica, there's different eras of Metallica that I love. Anthrax, again, you said Fistful of Metal. Never was a fan, but after that, big fan. I fucking love Anthrax. To this day, I mean, I wish their stuff would be remastered a little bit from the older albums, but good God, man, they have so many good fucking songs, and they are by far and away the best. And I will say Faith No More is number 2, and they've only had like a couple of remakes. Yeah. Anthrax could play any fucking cover and make it sound fucking good.
So
that's why I mentioned Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath.
Yeah,
so that's my thing with Anthrax is I didn't really like them, but then they did that Public Enemy thing.
Yes, bring the noise.
Oh my God! And then we had it as a warm-up song when I played hockey when I was like 17 years old, and fucking so. And then again, I'm with you, Joe. I didn't really like Anthrax that much, but I appreciate them more now than I did when I was younger. I don't know a lot about them, but I don't turn them off now. I used to turn them off. Now I don't.
Well, I found Anthrax because my brother, he was in the Army. He came back and you remember those faux leather cassette tape holders that held like 24 cassettes or 36, whatever? Yes. Yep. Little briefcase.
Yeah.
Briefcase.
Yep.
Well, he came back from the Army and he had the briefcase, and I snuck in there, popped the locks, went in there. I'm like, Anthrax. And it was an EP called Armed and Dangerous.
Oh yeah.
And I grabbed this EP and I started playing it. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. I started vibrating, and this is awesome. So I've been a fan since previous to Spreading the Disease, which was Armed and Dangerous, a little EP.
Nice. Yeah. You said you've seen them in concert. Joe, I think you said it in a previous episode. You've seen Iron Maiden 2 or 3 times because Anthrax opened.
3 times because Anthrax opened for me, and I hate Iron Maiden.
No, I've seen them. I think 5 times. I could be wrong. I've been wrong on a lot of these concerts that I talk about going to recently. But yeah, I've seen them several times, and I adore them.
That wasn't the opener,
right?
Yeah. But they also covered like Parasite, and most people don't know that freaking Antisocial is a cover,
right? Strutter.
And
Runner, right.
at some point, we're going to have a show that covers covers. I'm going to give you a little preview, if you will. Antisocial might be on my list. I mean, they're a band, they literally could cover anything, just like Faith No More when they did their covers, that they can play anything and make it their own and still hold true to the original.
Well, I love that Faith No More Easy Like Sunday Morning
cover. Oh, love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
So good.
You talk about their covers. They actually did a Temptations song called Ball of Confusion.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yes.
Right.
Nice.
Did you say we're going to cover covers? That was well played.
Yeah.
We're going to do a show in the future. We're going to cover covers under the covers.
Cover.
Undercover. You won't know about it, but we'll be there.
Undercover of the Night, Rolling Stones.
Right? All right, number 2. You guys didn't go to high school with me, but there are some listeners, watchers that did. And I was known for a couple different T-shirts I wore. One was that Dawkins shirt, Rockin' with Dawkins. The other one was White Lion.
Nice.
Yeah.
They opened up for AC/DC. I want to say Blow Up Your Video. I was lucky enough to go there and see that. And they opened up. I bought the T-shirt. That's how I know they opened. And I wore that shirt till it was a rag.
Those are the best.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got a falling off me.
Yep. So you can see your chest hair through them.
Right.
Nice nipple.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Nice nipple.
My nipple, just my one nipple. I only have one nipple, by the way. I don't have two, like most. I just have one.
And it was awkward for me because I'm one of those people that have weird,
You have a third nipple?
I have a third nipple too. It's on my ass, but
I mean, if you're gonna have one, that's the ideal place.
That's called a wart at that point.
Absolutely. And in high school, you were known for having the butt cheek tear and your ass hanging out. So my third nipple was pretty obvious.
Pretty obvious, right?
So all right. So number 2 is White Lion. Wait from Pride.
Wow, dude. I can say before anything else, one of the best solos ever written. I don't care if you don't like Mike Tramp's vocals or his lyrics. Just down that solo, one of the best solos.
I was just gonna say, I love his voice. I like his voice a lot.
Some people don't. I love it too. Sorry,
I didn't even. Honestly, I'm embarrassed that didn't even come across my radar. Honestly,
it was on my short list.
Not on mine either. Shit.
It was on my short list.
Yeah,
I really loved White Lion back in the day. Good.
Yep, me too.
Good check. Yeah.
And there's a cool reference between song number 2 and song number 3. The drummer for White Lion, Greg D'Angelo, was the original drummer for Anthrax.
Wow.
That's right.
I don't think I knew that.
Cool thing about White Lion, some of you know that I try to bring it back to Minneapolis as much as possible. White Lion self-funded their first album, Fight to Survive.
Yeah.
It kind of broke in Europe, as most metal bands do. Here, not so much. It wasn't until a radio station in Minneapolis played Wait and broke the song to America. I cannot find the reference to what radio station it was. I saw 3 different interviews with Mike Tramp, and Mike Tramp verified that through those videos. It was Minneapolis love that turned them into something big. Now, right before Pride, this album was released, they were a fledgling band fighting to survive, and they were doing whatever they could to make some money. They made an appearance in a movie, a pretty big movie, as a nightclub band, and it was The Money Pit with Tom Hanks. They were the live band.
Live band, yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Tom Hanks, nice.
Yeah, chef's kiss to Vito's solo. I don't want to, beat that horse, but I've always been a huge White Lion fan. Now they have some droning songs and some songs that aren't fantastic. I would say each album has 8 songs. I'd love 5 to 6 songs on all 3 of their albums. They only have 3 albums with this version of the band. But yeah, White Lion.
I will say this: being a guitarist, Vito Bratta was before Nuno Bettencourt, and I always thought at the time when Pride hit that Vito Bratta was not the next Eddie Van Halen, but the next iteration of Eddie Van Halen, because he took what Eddie did and added even more melody to it, more complexity to it. And then those who don't know, when Vito's dad got really sick, Vito Bratta stopped. When he made it big with White Lion, he invested all of his money into real estate. He stopped playing guitar, and to this day does not know how to play guitar. He hasn't stopped. He hasn't picked up a guitar since the 80s.
Wow.
Because he stopped and took care of his dad, put all his money into real estate, and just moved on with his life.
With that, there's 2 notes. The whole time he was a rock star, he lived with his parents.
Yep.
2, the reason he stopped playing his guitar is because he was in a really bad accident and fucked up his whole hand and all of the tendons in his wrists, so he couldn't even make the formation. So, yeah.
Ouch.
Right. It's amazing because a lot of people have talked to him about, hey, do you ever want to play guitar again? Or do you regret this? Or do you regret that? And he's like, he has no regrets. He's like, that was part of my life. That was then. This is now. He's moved on. It's really weird, very courageous. I hate using that word because it sounds like he was a hero. I'm just saying he was very confident in himself that was his past, and now this is his current life, and has no regrets whatsoever. And too many people can say that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And again, like I got to say, I'm embarrassed. I didn't even think. I was a huge White Lion fan back in the day. Love them.
Great stuff, man. That's a great album.
That's a great pick.
It was on my short list.
I should add that when I was a huge rock star, I also lived with my parents, but it was much like Chris with the air guitar.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you were a goalie.
I didn't have an ice pick. Yeah, no, I had a goalie stick.
Why does a goalie have a bass guitar? I don't know.
Which is like somehow weirder than the ice pick.
Right? It's weird. My door was wide open and I was naked.
This is playing
guitar in 1987.
That's right.
All right. So number 1, there's going to be no surprise here. Dokken.
Not surprised.
Who?
Never heard of him.
Who's that?
Dokken. It's a little German band. You might have heard of them.
Dokken.
It's Dokken. So the song is "Standing in the Shadows," Back for the Attack, 1987. I love George Lynch. I love Dokken. Don Dokken himself is, whatever. Please, Don, if you're watching this, comment on how much you hate me, like some other previous musicians may or may not have done.
Figure it out. Maybe through our shows, we can end up accidentally forming a super group of all the musicians that hate you.
Right.
Watch the show.
Ted Nugent can lead the way.
Right.
Oh no, he can fuck right off.
Oh shit! He's gonna shoot you with a crossbow.
Gotta cross the border first. I don't know if he can do that.
He'll be reloading his shells. Come on, you fuckers!
Put that guy in a fucking stranglehold.
Right. But anyway, back to Dokken.
I did like Dan Yankees, but whatever.
Right. I actually like Dan Yankees. The cool thing about this song is that opening riff. He's plucking strings rather than strumming them. It's a really powerful opening riff. His solos, this whole album, he did this whole doubling of his guitars during his solos. A half step off, sometimes a whole step off. And then after almost every solo on this album goes right into the lead riff. So it's very 1987. Very, very nostalgic. I loved Dokken. All right.
You get no arguments for me, man. I really enjoy Dokken too. I know they are an acquired taste for some, Joe.
If it's not Dream
but I
Warriors,
don't
I
want
don't
you to
know it.
stand alone. I don't want you to be alone again. I like Dawkins a
Oh.
lot as well, and I'd like
Well,
that.
you have
album
me
a
burning
lot.
like a flame.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Literally, I need an ointment.
Yeah.
Honestly, if it's not Dream Warriors, I don't know it.
You said ointment. You brought up ointment. I'm just assuming because when you listen to Don Dokken, it develops a rash.
Definitely. Definitely. So,
Richard Rash?
I have 3 really quick honorable mentions.
Just 3? I was going to expect more from everyone here.
No, just 3. They're really quick. Sabotage, Hall of the Mountain King was such a beautiful, amazing album.
Nice pull.
They were known for their rock operas. I think every other album was a literal rock opera.
Yeah.
Their drummer had the funniest name, Dr. Killdrums, Steve Wolfos. 24 Hours is like the big song on that album. Chris Oliva, the singer's brother, died in 1993 in a car accident, so rest in peace. Metallica Garage Days, the 595 or 598 EP, The Wait, my favorite song on that. It was all cover songs. Yep. And my homegrown reference, The Replacements, had Pleased to Meet Me.
Oh, such a good album. That was on my short list too. Yep.
So that's my list, guys. Dink, you're up next.
Oh, that was good, man. Really good.
Now, I want to say this before Dink gets started. If we have one samesies, I'm going to be very disappointed in us because, like I said, this one singular year is so impressive.
Yeah, but sometimes we have similar music tastes. We're all kind of in our own field, right? So it's possible, but I know there's a couple like Jimmy. You had some pretty rare ones there. Wait, I'm kind of like Chris, a little disappointed that I didn't even think of White Line. I don't think they would have made my list, but
yeah.
That's what I'm here for.
That's what I'm here for.
You're going to make me go back and listen to White Line, which is
right.
good.
That's what this is about, right?
Yeah.
Like
the whole purpose of this show is go back and listen to songs you haven't heard or haven't heard in a long time. That's the purpose.
Yeah. That is. Yep. Okay, I will rattle mine off.
Debbie Gibson?
Yeah. Can I do a 4?
I wouldn't be shocked. I would not be shocked.
I love
at all because of the cheese that this guy likes. I would not be shocked.
Did Roxette have an album in '87?
But okay, we'll start with number 4, and it is kind of shocking that this is number 4, considering my love for this band, and it is my shirt. But number 4 is New Sensation from InXS.
Dink, InXS.
And it's I don't want to take a page out of Joe's book.
But a lot of strong talk from the Prince man over there.
Right. It is the only InXS song on my list. It is number 2 all time on my InXS list.
We're narrowing it down,
but it lands here at number 4.
Your math is weird.
Right. Some people find it, I know because I've heard this and read this, a little circusy, the way the music is, versus other songs on Kick that you might think, like Need You Tonight or Never Tear Us Apart. But New Sensation holds a very strong nostalgic thing with me. I love the song. If anyone that isn't that familiar with InXS, they have a remix called the Nick 12-inch mix that really is awesome because it's an extended version and some parts of Michael's voice that are really cool, and then some weird instrumental stuff. But yeah, no, there's just something about this song. I don't know. I was lucky
hanging
on this tour. Can you see it?
Yeah, we see it.
Yeah, so I was, and I bought that poster, but I was lucky enough to see that tour in Canada twice in a week.
Wow.
A Wednesday in Ottawa. We took the train from Belleville, a bunch of us, and went, and it was so good. My girlfriend at the time, her mom bought us tickets to go on the Saturday in Toronto.
Nice.
So we drove up
Carrie?
and yes. And yeah, it was Ziggy Marley opened, and
Wow.
it says on the and Ziggy Marley was disappointing, to tell you the truth.
Wow.
Yeah, but maybe at the time I didn't appreciate reggae as much, and I wanted to see INXS so bad. I was like, oh, hurry up and get this over.
Yeah, I've been like
INXS
that.
will come out. The poster says, and a lot of people refer to it as the Kick Tour, but what I recall, it was the Calling All Nations tour, and Calling All Nations is another song on the album. So maybe they just called it that in Canada. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, this I could have had this entire list in excess from that album.
I'm not surprised you didn't.
But I chose not to because there's so much. Yeah, there's so much other music I love, and there's a couple of songs on this list that are very sacred to me. So actually, the next three are very important to me. So I had to bump this down to 4 and leave all the rest of them off. So that's it. That's my number 4.
You know, it's hard to go wrong with Kick because it's, again, we've talked about this in previous shows about complete albums, and Kick is one of those pop rock albums or just albums in general that from beginning to end is just an amazing album of songs. I mean, let's be honest. I think it's kind of thrown to the wayside that bands or an artist can write one good song. I mean, that you remember.
Right.
Now just think of an entire album, okay? Yeah. And then beyond that one album, it's kind of a miracle, or just, I think, an unappreciated talent that musicians that are famous, even musicians aren't famous. If you can write a good song people would love, much less an entire album, it's not quite appreciated like it used to be, because Kick, when it hit, was absolutely huge.
Massive.
And again, we talked about albums that sound like cohesiveness. When you have a really good producer and a really great band who's writing very well, Kick is that album. It's a perfect album.
Yeah.
And one of the cool things, are you done with your notes? Because I don't want to mess up your notes.
Got a couple of little tiny add-ons, but no, by all means.
Okay. So one of the cool things about Kick, it was off the coattails of Listen Like Thieves, correct?
Yeah.
And Listen Like Thieves was a huge success, and they followed up that in grand fashion. Now, musically, what's really cool is, sometimes musicians are in sync with each other and they're not. In this particular case, this band has 2 and sometimes 3 brothers playing on albums. So that really made it a cohesive feeling musically.
Totally.
I'm not as big a fan as like Dink is, but I did love this album. It's probably in my top 20.
Okay.
For the album, that is. And it was well before I knew Dink, but when I used to race motorcycles with a bunch of my friends, we would go for the night or whatever. And I just remember it being a part of the playlist of music we had in the truck or the van or whatever we were driving that night to go to the track to race. I just remember it being played a lot. And again, people of different genre that I would equate with different genres of music that were friends of mine. We all liked it.
Yeah.
All listened to it from start to finish pretty much.
I think that's pretty
easy to like.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. My metal buddies didn't rag on me for liking INXS. They didn't necessarily play, well, certainly not as much as I did, but they didn't give me shit. Like if I said, I have Make It Big here, do you guys want to put on some Wham? A little bit different, right?
Right. But everybody liked a couple of INXS songs. Everybody liked a couple of INXS songs if they didn't like the whole thing.
Yeah. Right.
Well, they're a rare band. I think
Devil Inside, or they might have liked something, right?
Yeah, I think they're that rare band that they had enough guitar in their pop music that sounded like rock. So it kind of crossed over that rock people like pop and the pop people like the rock, and it really was that perfect band in between those 2 genres.
And I think that album in particular, really, that Kick.
I'm sure that some of them thought I was a little overboard because, like you, Jimmy, I had some INXS shirts that I wore the shit out of, right?
We all had our thing though. Like I was a fucking. How long have I had this Pink Floyd shirt? 20 years. Like fuck.
Right.
You know what I mean? We all had our thing. So.
Yeah.
Another thing, right? That's little add-ons I had that I missed from my notes, and it's funny you brought up Listen Like Thieves. That's what turned me on to the band, and it was really not that my sister turned me on, but she turned me on to the band.
Your sister turned you on?
right.
That's illegal in the United
Were you
States. I don't
dating
know
or
about
babysitting?
Calm down. Calm down.
Let's dive into that.
Let's not and say we did.
No, but my sister was listening to Listen Like Thieves, and I was like, "What's this? This is really good." And I don't think and now I know all their stuff, but I don't think I knew Original Sin or anything from before, earlier days, right? So Don't Change or whatever. So I was like, oh, this is cool. And it was basically what you need, right? And then Kiss the Dirt, Falling Down the Mountain video came out. And so I recorded it off her. And I was like, this is pretty cool. Not realizing that they had 3 albums, maybe 4, 3 or 4 albums before that. They had been around for a while, right? And then when Kick came out, it fucking exploded, and I fell in love. And of course, like I said, saw them in concert. So it just kind of snowballed from there, and all their stuff since and before I love, some more than others. I will say about I actually saw them even when after Michael died, and when JD Fortune won the show and was their singer. They came to Kitchener. I saw them then too. So
from Chicago.
Is he? No, he's from Canada.
That the NXS Rockstar show?
Well, Rockstar show, yeah, but the singer JD Fortune is from Canada.
The winner of that NXS Rockstar show was from Chicago.
Yeah, that I love that show, right? And as being a diehard of the band, and they're all sitting there judging all these singers, right? Like, and then the second one even I liked with Tommy Lee, and
I remember you telling me about it all the time.
Right. Well, they would do covers in the competition, and then the people that were in the bottom had to play an NXS song in front of the band, and they might have already pre-chosen who the singer was gonna. Who knows?
I remember you showing me clips of it when I'd come visit.
Oh, yeah, because they were all. It wasn't like The Voice or American Idol. These were all established singers,
right?
That were handpicked for the show,
really.
right?
One of the
like
girls,
a live audition.
There was a woman singer that was from my town, from Chaska, Minnesota, who actually was one of the finalists in that whole show. And I'm like, when I went to high school with her, I'm like, you're a singer? And then I saw her on a show. I'm like, holy shit. Okay, whatever. I guess she's a singer.
Was it? Who was it?
I believe her name was Tanya Hunter. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not to kill the show.
I'm going through some of them in my head, but yeah.
But I will say this: when I think of NXS, not only just Kick, but I will just say, if we ever get the giant balls to say we're going to do a show of the best pop songs ever done, and Joe would say best pop songs that are not Prince songs.
Or not Prince.
What you need is one of the most perfect pop songs ever done, and I don't think Kick happens without with What You Need.
Need You Tonight, or What You Need?
No, What You Need.
What You Need is
That's Listen Like Thieves.
Like
Yep. I'm not saying, but I don't think Kick happens.
Oh, you don't think Kick happens?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes more sense. And yeah, okay. Well,
what you were putting in your head, yeah. Listen to what I say, not what you hear.
No, Jimmy and I were on the same page. I'm like, that's not the right album.
I'm like, how did I lose both of them? What the hell?
Phrasing, man. I guess phrasing. Anyway, I guess that's all my notes. I did have one little thing here that and it's kind of memory thing. Like in 1988, the MTV Music Awards, because remember they used to be kind of a big deal.
It was a big deal, yeah.
In '89, it was when Richie and John sang the acoustic versions of "Living on a Prayer" and "Wanted Dead or Alive." That was a massive thing, which led to Prayer '94, really.
And it also led to MTV Unplugged, yeah.
Right, but before that, the year before that, in '88, Arsenio was hosting. And a pretty good lineup if you go back and look. Crowded House, Rod Stewart, Guns N' Roses, Welcome to the Jungle. Should have closed.
Depeche Mode,
right? Yeah. And you would have thought at that time Welcome to the Jungle would have closed, but
No.
This song, In Excess and New Sensation, closed the show. And it is an awesome performance.
At that point, that kick was still ruling the world. Yeah.
It really was. Anyway, that's number 4. I'll move on to number 3. Number 3 will be short. Number 3 is a callback. Number 3, go back and watch our Going Solo show.
Sholo.
Sholo.
Shabba Shabu.
Shabba Shabu. Nice. I mentioned it in that episode that this song would be in the next 30 on my infamous list, and that's how important it is. So number 3 is Father Figure. There's no way it wasn't making this list, so there's nothing really to say. I would reference everyone to go back and listen to that show because you get a lot of good information from all of us. And this song was heavily talked about, and George Michael in general, by all of us in that show. But yeah, Father Figure is simply put, I love it.
Jimmy?
I desperately wanted to put that in an honorable mention, but I knew respectfully that you purposefully would be putting this on your list. So I left that alone so you could talk about it.
I figured if I didn't, then it wouldn't make sense. Well, how can it be in your top 50, but it doesn't even make your top 4 from 87? And it does. You know what I mean? So, and it sucks that New Sensation's 4, but it's my second favorite In Excess song, and it's my second favorite band of all time after AC/DC. Love the Aussies, by the way.
You make me hate Matt.
Yeah, but I think about that stuff, right? I'm like, well, you got to be accurate. Like, you can't say this, and then that song. This is like one of my favorite songs by that band. It's my second favorite band of all time, but it's song number 150 on my list. That doesn't make any sense. So I think
you got a beautiful mind, man.
Beautiful mind, I guess, or fucking ridiculous, as my wife would say.
Well, both can be the same.
Fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, both are the same. Anyway, it's time for 1 and 2, and 1 and 2 are shockers.
Sorry, Vince.
What? Huh?
These are the ones I said in our group chat, and we've told the listeners before, we don't discuss our picks, but we skate around it. And we talk about everything else. And I said, I'd give you 250 choices and you wouldn't pick these 2 of my songs. These are the 2. So number 2 is Mind Over Matter by E.G. Daily. And you're like, what? Right. So I adore this song. I'm trying to not say I fucking love, but I fucking love this song. This is beautiful. The song from the Summer School soundtrack. This is the song playing when they write the test at the end. When Dave's like, see at the very end. This is the one that Chainsaw screams at the beginning. Ah!
Yeah.
This is the song playing. So this is a pop song. E.G. Daily, if you don't know who she is,
I do.
Is the voice of Tommy Pickles from Rugrats. She is Dottie from Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
What the hell?
And she's Phoebe's friend from Friends.
She's Phoebe's friend that steals Smelly Cat for the cat jingle.
Wow.
That is E.G. Daily.
By the way, I get cred. Street cred for that.
Cred. You got it before I could even get it. She was born Elizabeth Gutman, and she goes by E.G. Daily. But many people don't know her, but it's cool that you did when I said that. She released 4 solo albums, 3 in the 80s and 1 in 08. And she tried out for The Voice in 2013. Speaking of those kind of shows, she made it through the first 2 rounds and then lost in the knockout round. But anyway, back to the song. I love this song. This song, it's her rasp in her voice. This song is nostalgic for me because it was huge at teen dances when we were that age. There's just something about it. I don't know. It's a cover. It was originally released by Nikki Leger in 86, a year before in UK, and she's an unknown. And then they asked Debbie Harry from Blondie to do this song for Summer School. And there was a label dispute. Something happened. Yeah. And Debbie Harry recorded it. And I think, and I couldn't find this anywhere in my notes, that the version that E.G. Daily does, that there's still some Debbie mixed in the background.
Oh, okay. Doubled up the voice. Okay.
doubled up the voice. I could be wrong on that, but like it was like, or she's mimicking exact, because I've heard the Debbie Harry version on YouTube, and it's fair. They're very close, right? But I prefer the E.G. Daily. I think they made the right call, which is she's, and that's fucking Debbie Harry. Like, but I don't know. There's just something about it, and the song was produced by Stock, Aikman, and Waterman, or Saw, three guys, right?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of those guys. Those three guys were the most successful songwriting production partnership of that time. They were working with Donna Summer, Rick Astley, Bananarama, Dead or Alive, and Kylie Minogue, and did Band-Aid 2.
Two?
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh, why couldn't it be Band-Aid?
Band-Aid 2?
Yeah, there's been like 6 Band-Aids, right? I didn't know
Get
that.
the fuck out.
Yeah, it's been a lot. Yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, that's it. Like it's probably going to be hard for you guys to talk about it because you don't know it.
Nope.
But that's number 2. I love that song.
Mm-hmm.
There was no way I could not have it. And look at how high it is, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, she's got a pretty powerful voice for such a diminutive person.
Such a tiny person, right? Like,
Yeah.
So you know who she is, yeah. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, she's got to have something going on professionally, promoting or an anniversary, because I have seen her a lot on the socials, popping up, not left and right, but fairly regularly. So there's got to be something she's promoting right now.
Well, maybe so. Like she's huge, obviously, with the Tommy Pickles thing. She's huge in the voice world, or the voice acting, or voiceover.
Voiceovers, yeah.
Yeah, she's big in that, right? Like she's been in a bunch of other stuff, as she was in Wreck-It Ralph as doing some of the voices, a bunch of animated stuff where her voice is her meal ticket, right? So
well, she's got a distinct voice, yeah.
It's very distinct, kind of squeaky, but kind of raspy and kind of sexy. And in the Mind Over Matter video, she's really sexy. Like, I don't know. It's something about that song that will forever be with me. So I don't know.
I'm shocked you're picking country song.
Well, I'll explain why. Okay, so it was bound to happen. Let's let it sink in.
Was it?
No, but just try not to overreact. Try not to walk away when I'm saying country. The band is Restless Heart. This is my favorite country song of all time.
I don't even
The
know
song is I'll Still Be Loving You. Okay, so I fell in love with this song when it came out. It is a ballad, and if you haven't really noticed, he's got his thumb on a screen there. If you haven't really noticed, as much as I like some strange music, some pop, a lot of rock, some metal, I kind of gravitate to ballads. I don't know why. I've actually noticed it more with us doing this show, because I always knew I liked slow songs. And that list I mentioned, Dust in the Wind's First, Wish You Were Here's, Fade Into You's on the list, Leather and the Lace is on the list, Toto's I Won't Hold You Back. I like ballads, clearly. So this is a power ballad / country song, or country ballad, that crossed over, that was on the pop charts. So I'm going to take a page out of Jimmy's book. It peaked at 33 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 87. Pretty good for a country song. Number 3 on the Billboard Adult Contemporary. And in 87, I wasn't listening to Adult Contemporary. I am now.
Hence the term adult contemporary. Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm barely an adult now at 52. It was number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 Country, and number 1 in Canadian RPM country tracks. It was a massive track. The lyrics,
that's what I've heard.
I'll Still Be Loving You. The lyrics, it was immediately crowned a wedding song. So when I heard it back then, I always thought, and this is so cheesy and lame, sentimental, I'm like, I'd like this to be my wedding song. So I always kind of thought that, right? And then my wife liked the song too. So it kind of fit. So sentimentally, this is number 1, because this, and Chris was there, he was in the party. This was my wedding song.
I was extremely drunk and do not remember this song at all.
Yeah, so this is the first song we danced to, right? So this is.
Oh,
this
you two
happened-
danced?
Yeah. Yeah, we
What did you
danced
say?
together. Their wedding song, we danced together.
Yeah, we danced together, and Katie was like, "Yeah, I like this song. I like the way they dance."
Okay, all right. People who have watched the show, I wouldn't call them fans, but people that watch or listen to the show, two things. Number one, count how many times Chris says he's too drunk, doesn't remember. And for those who can put together Dink's top 10 from his master
Still
list,
hasn't done number 19.
who has been giving cues of what's his
Yeah,
top
like
10
if
master
somebody
list
can
is,
rattle off that list, I'd be very
we will
impressed.
give you a no prize.
Right.
Okay, we'll give you a no prize. So you post down
We can
either
come
on
up with something.
YouTube or a comment on whatever platform you're listening to the
Right.
show. If you can list out Dink's top 10 from his hints, you
Yeah,
win.
we will send you 6 crumpled up notes from Jimmy.
Yeah. And we asked the tens of listeners to please do that.
Dozens, if you will.
It's too funny. But anyway, like I said, anyone that really knows me knows that I like that kind of music, not necessarily country.
Have you
But-
said the song name yet? You said
Yeah, the
Restless-
song is "I'll Still Be Loving You."
He did,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
he did.
okay. I'm sorry.
I'm listening.
Fine. I'll
I gotta-
still be loving you too.
I'm
Anyway,
really
but
sorry,
yeah.
but I don't remember that song at all.
You will when you hear it back. You'll be like, "Oh yeah, that kind of
Maybe.
rings a bell."
Dude,
From-
I woke up in a
From
bed
life
with,
or from that night.
I woke up in a
But-
bed with other people in my full tuxedo still the next morning after your fucking wedding, so I don't know.
So,
And that was
So-
yesterday.
but no, like I think like there was something like when I met
Didn't
my wife,
require stitches.
friends for a lot of years, right? And it sounds cheesy, but like we kind of had this connection through cheesy music. And you know,
Okay.
it's her music,
Okay.
really.
Here we go. We're labeling terms cheesy. What does cheesy mean? It's like,
Well,
my
well-
guilty pleasure. It's what you love. It's not cheesy. If you love it, you
It's
love
kind
it.
of cheesy, right?
Own
Like,
it.
even I can
It's a
admit
way
it.
to explain it. It's a way to explain it to the general masses.
No.
That's what it is.
Even I
Own
can explain it as
Own
it's
it.
cheesy, and I love it.
I have a
But she
record
lo-
right
she
here.
loves
None
it
of
too,
you
and
know
that
who
might be
this
the-
guy is. Own your shit. It's
Own
not
it.
cheesy.
That
you
might
love
be
it.
the only reason she likes me,
Blue Moon.
right? But anyway,
Just because we call it cheese, though, I mean, I like a fair amount of cheese.
oh, I
I'm-
love
I'm-
cheese, right? I
I'm
love
willing
them.
to bet that one of my honorable mentions is going to be considered cheese by a lot of people.
I know
Right.
what cheese-
But
I
anyway,
have
I
no
love
idea what
Larry
cheese is.
Stewart's voice, the singer. He did 4 albums with the band, and then he went solo, and he had a bunch of country shit afterwards. But yeah, like I said, it was a wedding song all through the 80s and 90s, and the industry labeled it as like one of the #1 wedding songs. I just brought it into the year 2000.
The year 2000 for you Conan fans, yes.
Exactly. But yeah, that's it. That's my 4. You got anything to say? You got any
I
more
will
country
say,
docs, fuckers?
Again, I love your list. Very eclectic. A couple of there, I was like, wow, that's out of my box.
Yeah, that's way out there, right?
And there's no way any of us should have any songs that are the same. I will even say this: there's none of us that have the same artists that are the same.
Okay, well, I'll get to
I'm
my
the
honorable
Chris guy,
mention.
You're the NXS guy. He's the freaking docking guy, and Chris is the freaking Pink Floyd guy. None of us in 1987 should have the same song, much less the same artist.
Well, we'll find out. We
Yeah.
have 2 more people to talk.
I think
Well,
we're
you're
gonna
going to be
right-
severely disappointed in me then. I got to tell you right now.
I think we're going to right now. So I will give you
No.
my 2 Lucy's. One is an ode to metal, and one is, like I said, I don't want Jimmy to stand alone. So Burn Like a Flame, I really want it on this list. I love it, but it just couldn't make it. So it's a Lucy.
I never
Troy-
thought our love could last for so
Right.
long.
Right. Troy from Sinead, I love. Couldn't get it on the
Wow.
list.
Wow.
But my real honorable mention is I think maybe what Chris has. And my real honorable mention is Alone from Heart.
Oh,
Oh,
dude.
Nice.
Fuck!
We were
surprise.
just
Not
listening
even
to
on
that.
my radar. Good call. I didn't even
Okay,
think of
so this song, if you don't know, is a cover. They did not write it. It was written by where are my notes here?
There's a lot of their 80s stuff not by them.
Yeah, it's from the Bad Animals album, right? Obviously, which was Who's the Girl, or Who Do You Run To? And they had a couple of good tracks. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people think of them as a 70s band and they didn't like some of their 80s stuff. And I love Heart all the way through, man. I love Anne. I love her voice. Although I did pass up going to see her a month ago here in town. Last
Shenanigans.
You want to go? And I said, well, I've already seen her, and she's injured and is in a wheelchair and stuff. And I was like, I don't know if I want to go to that. So I passed it up. But anyway, it's very high school memory of this. This came out in the summer before grade 9 for me, and Jimmy and I were talking with camera off about time frames, and so that was very memorable moments. All these songs are from 87, right? So, and it was into grade 9 with this, and I loved it. Memorable for some girls, right? Because the slow dancing and whatnot. But it's a cover of an I-10 song. I-10 is a writing duo of Billy Steinberg and Tom Kelly, who then made their own band to record an album, and this song was on it. And the guitarist for the album, Steve Lukather. So shocking, a session musician played on their album. So that was kind of cool. But that
the session guitar player.
Yeah, the session, exactly.
Yeah.
That duo did songs. I'll just rattle them off real quick. They wrote True Colors. They wrote In Your Room from the Bangles. They wrote Eternal Flame from the Bangles. I Drove All Night. I'll Stand By You from the Pretenders. I Touch Myself, Like a Virgin, and So Emotional. Wrote them all, those two guys.
You couldn't have put a better grouping of song names together for that last sentence.
Imagine you can retire after one of those songs, and they wrote all those songs.
So they're probably like, well, our own little endeavor, I-10, didn't work out, and then Heart covers it. They probably get all the shit from that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well.
Anyway, I'm sure one day we'll do a Heart episode. That would be really fun. This will clearly be right up there, or maybe, well, not maybe if not the one, it'll be in the top 4 anyway. And nothing little add-on, since we've mentioned now reality shows. This was performed by Mrs. Fisher, or Carrie Underwood, if you will, and in season 4. And it was a really good performance, really well done, because she's got a powerful voice. And that's when Simon says, I believe you will not only win this competition, which she did, but you will sell more records than any other winner of this show. She is just a few million behind Kelly Clarkson, so he was pretty close.
Wow.
Yeah. That was 20 years ago. She was 05 when Carrie Underwood won. But anyway, that's my honorable mention, is Alone by Heart.
Great eclectic mix, which I'm hoping to find from everyone on this list, because 87, like I said in the intro of this episode, the soundtracks, the band, the albums, not like I said, okay, we've done so many different topics this last few episodes. 87 has been the hardest, I think, probably for all of us. I'm not going to speak for all of you, but for me, especially because there's so many great albums. I mean, and we're talking about fourth. We see it on Facebook, we see it on YouTube comments. Why do you guys do your top 4, not your top 5? It's because we always do top 4 and then our honorable mentions, because no matter if you do top 4, top 5, it's hard to break it down to those amount of songs. And so we do top 4 because it's even harder than top 5. And then you have an honorable mention for your top 5. Now imagine in 1 year of so many great albums.
It's mind-blowing sometimes, right? Like
any one of these albums that we're talking about or we're skirting around could be these 4 songs.
And we go through it like for me, it's like almost disappointing to leave something off. I'm so glad.
Yes.
I forgot to mention this, that you got Wildflower in there, because I love Electric Ocean, but I love that whole friggin' Electric album. I'm so glad somebody got a cult song in, because I was like, oh, how could I? That was such a significant album for me in 87 and 88 and in 89 until Sonic Temple came out. I was like just killing myself with the call to love them. So like there's many of those, like you said in the intro, Hysteria and Appetite for Destruction. Like there's tons.
I mean, legendary albums that haven't gone away, haven't drifted from time, that are still there being played all the time.
Still played by
They're
me.
still there. And we're not talking
Well,
about we're not talking about singles. We're talking about songs on the album.
I listen to the cult more than I listen to my wedding song, I'll tell you that.
well, this is all good and great, but we still have 2 more people to express their songs. You guys are wrapping up the show, and there's 2 more people that may or may not.
We got ours in, so let's wrap it up.
Right.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm just sitting here letting it go, see what's going to happen.
We haven't brought up Pink Floyd one time yet.
Oh, don't worry. It's coming up.
What? No.
All right, Chris, you're up, brother.
You're going to be sick of it.
Let's see what you got. Is there more Jets and Club Nouveau?
Absolutely not.
Lean on me.
I kind of stuck with the albums that they were really big albums for me that not changed, but guided my taste in music. Anyways, so my number 4 is from the Joshua Tree, and it's Streets Who Have No Name by U2. Absolutely love that song, and I think I like it even more because I think it was now this came out in 87, Joshua Tree, but then Rattle and Hum came out in 88.
Yep.
Now, I remember seeing the preview in a movie theater while I was watching another movie, and I just remember The Streets of No Name was the song that was playing in the opening, and I just remember goosebumps. It's like one of the first times I remember getting goosebumps listening to a song.
Yeah, did you say that on the opening track, or did you say that in a trivia night? I remember this.
Yeah, I actually, thinking back now because of this song, I'm like, I think I might would have put this on my opening track. Now that I think about it,
I think you gave it an honorable or a loose honorable mention.
Maybe I can't remember for sure, but
I should go back and watch that show.
That album's amazing.
Again, if you go back and listen to the previous songs and you give exactly what Dink's talking about, we'll send you a no prize.
Nice.
Everyone loves a no prize. Get in the small room.
But I love that album. That's my favorite U2 album.
Yeah, no,
that song's unbelievable to me.
It is a great song.
Well, on that note, I was a U2 fan probably up to this album. But the kudos that I give to this album is the engineering and the production value of this album are superior. There's so much time and effort that went into getting that mix just beautiful. I'm not a big fan of the Edge, his guitar playing, because it's all kind of processed. But with that being said, I'm going to be a hypocrite again, like I was earlier, or maybe that was last episode. Who knows? His guitar sound is so crisp and clear and really kind of beautiful on that album. So I mean, that's my kudos to that album.
I think it's ravishing.
What do you got for 3, brother?
Sorry. So number 3, it's a bit of a repeat because we've talked about it in a previous podcast for the album, but it is sorry. Sorry, it's Depeche Mode, because that album, Music for the Masses, was huge for me.
It's so good, dude.
But it's Behind the Wheel.
Wow.
I love that song
so
much.
Good song.
When I was doing the research, I found a really cool quote. I think it's cool. It's European funk for those who like to dance with a touch of sadness, was what one critic said about the song, which I thought was kind of funny.
That's pretty fucking spot on, man.
Right?
It is pretty good.
I thought, wow, that's fucking awesome. We got to write that down.
That's pretty fucking spot on.
I love that band. I've talked about it before, how much this album I love.
Yeah.
I did not realize that Spin had it as number 30 is their top 100 greatest singles of all time.
Wow.
Wow.
In 1989. Yeah, 1989. But yeah.
Still.
That's
All
great.
the
Man.
singles up to 89, and that was. Oh,
But I've talked about it before how much I like Depeche Mode and
Yep.
what's going on with Jimmy's camera? Where'd
Oh,
Jimmy
we
go?
lost
lost
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
It's like when you guys
I bet
lost
his
me a few
phone died.
shows ago.
So apparently Jimmy didn't like Depeche Mode fucking much because he's gone.
Okay,
First,
Chris.
he put his hand over. This is garbage.
Yeah, he's like, I'm done. Chris, you're on the hot seat. Depeche Mode or Pink Floyd?
Oh, Pink Floyd. Because
wow.
the next two songs are Pink Floyd.
That was
Gee,
well
what
played.
album's that from?
Sorry. So yeah, but I'll get into that. The reasons
Okay.
why. So it wasn't, but I'll get into it. So that's my number 3. Anybody got anything to say about Depeche Mode?
No, I mean Depeche
No.
Mode again, man. A band in a time when music was so diverse
Hey Jimmy,
that
welcome
Hey,
back.
welcome back.
there he is. Speaking of pointing north, no, it's of a time when music was so diverse and so new in '87, in the late '80s, early '90s. Depeche Mode. When you heard a song, when you heard 2-3 notes from Depeche Mode, you knew it was Depeche Mode. Just
Right.
talking about the edge, you know.
And again, it was one of those bands that I didn't tell a lot of people I was a fan of. In fact, probably I said the opposite. I probably told them I didn't like them. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
it was
Yeah.
at that time when
Yeah.
I was listening to what we were talking about before, White Lion and harder rock, and then In Excess and this and pop stuff, right? And a lot of stuff that I wouldn't tell friends that I was listening to because I knew they wouldn't like it.
Right.
So now my number 2 and number 1 is not going to surprise anybody who knows me, but number 2 is Dogs of War by Pink Floyd.
Good song.
Momentary Lapse of Reason. The album is where I discovered Pink Floyd for me.
Mhm.
Really? That's
Yeah.
pretty amazing. I mean,
So I knew,
so
I knew of Pink Floyd, and Pink Floyd's one of those bands that even if you don't know their songs, you know the band name.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Right. So I knew some of their stuff, but I wasn't really. I liked some of the art. I know my sister had like the Wall album on vinyl, so like the album was kind of cool to look at. You opened it up and that was cool. So I knew of them, but I was actually one of the weekends where my parents went away and I was staying at a buddy's place, and he's like, when we were crashing, he's like, oh, I'm going to put on Pink Floyd. We're going to crash to this. And it was when I really learned about Pink Floyd, and that's what made me want to go back. And that's when I experienced Dark Side of the Moon. And that's from when we were talking about before in other episodes about how I listened to something, a cover. This is where I listened to a newer version of the band, went back and experienced and fell in love with the band's older stuff after I listened to Momentary Lapse of Reason. That's the one that opened me into Pink Floyd.
Since you are a newer fan, did you ever go back and listen to Dark Side of the Moon and also watch
Wizard of Oz?
Wizard of Oz?
Absolutely.
Fuck yeah, dude. Yes.
Absolutely.
After the third lion roar, you push play.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And in fact, now I know because I've done it in the last 5 years. You can go on YouTube and play it. They have it all synced up.
Yeah, somebody's already done it, which is
absolutely
awesome. Yeah.
But yeah, me and my friends would do it, and like a couple of friends from college, we did it a few times where we did. I shouldn't. Whatever. Where we did shrooms, and then we'd fucking do it.
Whatever.
Well, that's the only way you're supposed
young,
to watch
right?
or listen to that shit, right?
Right?
It's totally with shrooms.
Right.
Or
But that album, Momentary Lapse of Reason, again, is another one of those albums that I can listen to start to finish. It's probably got one of my favorite instrumental songs on it of all time, like Terminal Frost.
Yeah,
it's probably one of my favorite instrumental songs. And if we ever did an instrumental show, it probably would be in my top 4.
And let's be honest, for a band who lost its primary, we'll say primary member, and they come out with an album and it sounds like Pink Floyd and feels like Pink Floyd all the way through the album, it's pretty incredible, man. I mean, because you saw what happened with, again, going back to previous shows, you saw what happened with Van Halen when they lost a singular member. It completely changed the band.
Yeah.
Pink Floyd, they changed without Roger Waters, but they still sounded like Pink Floyd.
No, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. And like the guitar solo in Dogs of War. It's kind of like a bluesy sounding song, and then
Yeah.
it gets to the guitar solo and the tempo picks up. And then I was now we've talked about this before. I'm not Dink and I don't really play an instrument or something like that, but for a while in grade 7 and grade 8, I played the clarinet, and I was a big fan of the saxophone sound.
I play
that
sax.
the sax solo in the middle of that song after the guitar solo, I absolutely love. I really dig that sound.
Well,
Well,
how
you
many
can't
years?
have 80s music without a random saxophone solo.
I was
In
gonna say
every single version genre, I mean, Rat had a saxophone solo.
Big
Yeah.
fan. I'm a big fan of that. Love it. Love it.
Well, I have a
NXS had his sax, and even when he yelled trumpet, they played a sax.
And actually, I was going to say, I really love the saxophone. Remember
Saxophone.
saxophone.
I have a question about that album, though.
Right.
Is that the album that has On the Turning Away?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I was never a big Pink Floyd fan, but my buddy in high school, Jamie Hicks, had that album and played that song specifically quite frequently and on repeat. And I learned to love that song, and I did go back and start to love some of the other Pink Floyd stuff. So the Turning Away got me to listen to Pink Floyd.
That's a great segue because my number 1 is Turning Away by Pink Floyd for
Awesome.
momentary lapse reason.
You're welcome.
That's awesome. That's again, like I don't know what more I can say about the album, but this song, I love this song. I listen to it regularly, weekly, sometimes daily. If not the whole album weekly. I don't know. So one of the things that I did in the notes when I was looking stuff up, it's been called a power ballad. It also was apparently considered the first protest song after Roger Waters left the band.
Yeah.
Wow.
It also, I just like the flow of the song. I just like the guitar, and
and who would think that Roger Waters would go so like what'd you call it, liberal to the fact he'd become fascist by 20.
Right. And actually, one of my biggest regrets is I never saw Floyd in concert, but I did see Roger Waters in
I haven't seen any of
Radio Chaos.
So actually, the kind of cool story about the Roger Waters show is I was working at a bar in Aurelia, and they did Rock 95, Dink and Barry.
Nice.
Rob Frost was giving away tickets to concerts one Friday night when I was working the bar, and he's like, "Hey, you know anybody likes Pink Floyd?" I'm like, "Me." He's like, "Oh, I got 2 tickets to Roger Waters. You want them?" I'm like, "Absolutely." Sunday night. So we went to the Bud stage or whatever it was called at the time now. But that weekend on the Saturday, me and my girlfriend at the time went and saw Paul Stanley as the Phantom in the Phantom of the Opera.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
So that weekend was unreal. I had a great weekend for arts and music and fucking unbelievable. But going back to Pink Floyd, that album, again, going back, that song, I love it. One of the things I wanted to say, it brought up in the reviews, a lot of the reviewers are saying it has a Celtic sound, which I find really unique.
I believe that, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you can argue that point because, you know, being a Sting fan, he's a big, some of his obscure stuff is very Celtic.
Right.
I can see the hinting, but not really the actual vibe. Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Singing it sounds like a pub tale.
Right.
I agree with that.
Right. I always find that like his guitar playing too is very like, I love his solos. It's just so smooth when he's playing the guitar. He's so smooth.
Yep.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the video where his daughter's playing at a pub and then he fucking shows up and like, well, let's like do Wish You Were Here.
Yeah,
well, that's like his last album he did with his daughter.
Yeah. Exactly.
I think his wife wrote the lyrics and his daughter sang a lot of the stuff. Yeah.
It's fucking cool. But
all right, there's a lot for me to unpack before you go on because I got to speak. I've been quiet.
Talking about Doug or
I don't
David?
want
I got to send my 25 honorable mentions, man.
Oh
so
no,
hurry up.
much like Doc, and I can't let Chris.
He's like a kettle simmering, ready to go off.
Right. I can't let him stand alone. If we are a ranking show, and we talked about on the last episode with Fleetwood Mac. Floyd's my third. Like I've already said, it's AC/DC, INXS, Floyd, Alice in Chains, and Fleetwood Mac are my top 5 favorite bands. So he does not stand alone. But I am a Roger guy. I am the opposite of Chris. I stopped listening to Floyd, almost boycotting because Roger left. Because I knew.
Oh, you were that guy.
I know.
You were the David Lee Roth guy when
now does that make any sense? When "Wish You Were Here" is your second favorite song, and that is Gilmore? No. So did I make any sense ever? No.
Okay,
but I love Floyd. I love that album. I just didn't give it the appreciation that I should have in '87. I have since, but Floyd is it for me too, boys. So that's going to be a fun episode if we ever do it.
I wore that cassette tape out though. Momentary lapse. Once my friend played it for me, I went and bought it the next day. Okay. I wore them all at event. I had the box set still, and the CDs are all cracked and fucking because I wore. Yeah, I didn't keep them in pristine condition.
You played the hell out of
Momentary Lapse and Division Bell. I just didn't give them the praise I should have because I was pro Roger, right? And Roger's a nut job.
He's a douche.
My honorable mentions where it gets a little different for me. Now I had Wildflower on there for a little bit, but it fell off because
I got you.
I was going back with the Pink Floyd. I'm like, which one do I put on? Is it this one or that one? I'm like, idiot. If you can't decide, they both should be on there.
Right.
That's right. Like, so my honorable mention, I have 2. Wildflower was there, but 2. And one is Hold On to the Nights by Richard Marx.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
Right. I'm a huge
and
Richard
the crowd
Marx
goes
fan.
wild.
I love his voice. I think he's a fantastic singer. My favorite song by him is Hazard, which is on a different album. But
next album,
Hold On to the Nights was played a lot when I was going on dates, when I was like that age, you know what I mean? Like, and I just love the way he sings. I love his song. I love that song. And I got to give another props to one from the Lost Boys soundtrack, Cry Little Sister from the Lost Boys.
Nice. Wow.
Solid. Was my other one. I don't think that one's Gerard McMahon is the name of the singer. I don't think it's aged particularly well, but during that period, I played that song.
Well, it has that
time,
like that choir type vibe that it's like a prayer does.
Haunting kind of
what love does. You know what I mean? Where there's kids singing in the background. It is haunting. It's good. If you guys, the cover that came out in like 2010 or 2009 by Seasons After, that's
Corey Feldman's version.
No, it's super. Is that's not Corey? Is it in Seasons After?
No.
I don't think so. It's super heavy. It's so good.
Really good. The cover is really good.
Really good.
But again, that soundtrack in particular had the Doors on it. It had all kinds of other things.
Oh yeah, Echo and the Bunnymen.
The Bunnymen. I played that soundtrack.
And Jimmy Barnes, yes.
All the time. I played a lot of soundtracks because
great. Luke Graham's on that soundtrack. That's a great soundtrack.
Yeah.
I'm glad
that was my list.
I'm glad you got Dick Marks in there because I think I had Endless Summer Nights on that as well. I think
there's Dick Marks in here.
Yeah. Dick Marks. There's Dick Marks all over the place.
There's Dick Marks everywhere. Man. You left your Dick Marks on that list.
I love Dick Marks. Anyways, that is my list.
Nice list. All 3 of you, seriously, great list. Again, we haven't had samesies anywhere.
Yeah.
Now, the best 1987 songs that aren't Prince.
All right.
I'm actually shocked. I was prepared. This was probably the one song just in our previous songs that were mentioned pre-show that no one else picked. I thought they were going to pick. It's by a band who that year sold 25 million copies of their third album, Hysteria. The song for me is Gods of War by Def Leppard.
I'm glad somebody got it in.
This song, so this is how I approached my best songs in 1987. Yes, we all know Joe likes Prince. I approached each one of these top 4 songs as Chris leads to go pushing the bottle as These songs encompass my favorite albums of that year because, again, break it down to 4 songs. Try to break it down to 4 fucking albums. It's fucking impossible. So number 4 is Gods of War by Def Leppard from Hysteria. The album alone sold 25 million copies. It was legendary because it was at that time the most expensive album ever recorded. It cost them over $1 million. Their drummer lost a fucking arm over the goddamn thing. It was the last album by Steven Clark, who is one of the best guitarists and best guitar writers of popular rock music of the time.
And this is his song, right? That intro is
really
all
his
him.
song. Yeah, it really is. Every time you hear like an underlying melody over a major melody, that's a Steve Clark guitar line. But Gods of War was Def Leppard being very political and a band who wasn't political. It was dark. It's a dark song. It's not the most popular song off the album, but for me, it is the best song off of Hysteria. And that's why I had to choose Gods of War by Def Leppard.
I'm with you, man. I think it's their best song, period.
Awesome.
I sent, and the viewers don't know, our listeners, I sent an extended list to the group chat jokingly. Here's the songs that didn't make it, boys. And Gods of War was the number 1 song on that list, just above Burning Like a Flame.
Yep.
But I wanted to give you the ode with the Dokken and Gods of War. I had a feeling Joe might get it if he did lead Princess. So, because I knew you loved it too. So that's awesome.
I didn't want to be change my mind by
you didn't want to be influenced. You didn't even look at
I didn't look at it. I just fucking ignored it.
30 songs on it. Like, here's what didn't make it, boys. You fucker.
So, I'm glad you mentioned Hysteria. I famously wasn't a big fan of this album, but the B-side to the song Hysteria had Ride Into the Sun. Never made it to any albums until they did a B-sides, and I fucking loved that song. And then the B-side to, is it Armageddon It? Was Desert Song. Yeah. I loved those 2 songs, and I wish they would have been on that album because I would have thoroughly enjoyed Hysteria much more than I did.
Why, Jimmy? Did you ever find out, ever read anything as to why they didn't make the
cut? They just didn't make the cut.
And why they didn't push him to Adrenalize, or they just, with Steve gone and...
They kept him, and they knew that they were probably going to do a B-side album, and because most of their songs from Hysteria on had unreleased tracks as B-sides, so they had like 30 songs that they did that the collection, or what was that? It was the lady in front of the mirror, but it was a skull shape.
Yeah.
But that was based rarities and B-sides.
Albums like Pyromania and Hysteria, you can tell that every member of the band has impacted the sound of that album.
Yeah.
Hysteria, I think, is the epitome of that. And I think Gods of War being in the forefront of that recording process, and then Pour Some Sugar Me being the end of that process, kind of gives you the formulation of how that album went.
Yeah. Well, I mean, famously, Pour Some Sugar on Me was not a song that they really even wanted to do.
Yeah,
it's their worst song.
Like a lot of songs.
It's their second worst song after
their Cherry Pie.
I didn't listen to Def Leppard past Pyromania.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, I listened to it, but I didn't embrace it like the rest of the world did. I mean, I had some, I guess, a derogatory term for that album, which I'm not going to say. And it just, I don't know, it wasn't the same. I love the story of Rick Allen. I love the fact that he invested $500,000 into his drum set to figure out how to do it with foot pedals. He had 7 engineers come in and figure out how to get this all working, and he could have a different drum for each, for a drum trigger with the foot pedal to hit a different song or a different tom or whatever, a cymbal, so he could actually play these songs. He actually is kind of a badass in my mind just for that alone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not only him, but the band, because let's face it, the band could have moved on and said, okay, you got one arm, dude. We need a drummer. They said, no, we're not going to move on without him. Not only for him to invest at $500,000 to try to incorporate a new how to play drums with one arm, but the band saying, we're not going to do that without you. When the easy way out was saying, dude, you understand we have to get a guy with two arms, right?
Right. Well, there was more than just that gave him that long hiatus. I mean, Steve Clark had a bunch of personal issues outside of the alcoholism that was keeping him away from the band. So, I mean, there was a bunch of other factors into that long wait.
But again, just
what was Pyromania, 83, and then Hysteria was 87.
It was a solid 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of factors to go into that long wait.
Every song on the album is killer. For me, like I said, my top 4 had to come down to the top 4 songs that encompass an album of that year, because it was way too hard to come up with just 4 songs on their own. That being said, my number 3 song was Always With Me, Always With You.
Nice.
Joe Satriani. From his album Surfing the Alien.
Yep.
This album, if you know me, if you're listening to the show, Joe Satriani is a big part of my life. Was a guitar teacher for Joe Satriani and Kirk Hammett. That one thing about Joe Satriani, he's not big about I'm going to play the next great impossible riff you can't play. You got to figure it out. He's all about melody. His guitar lead melody is always the vocal melody. It's over the music. And it's probably the most simplest thing. And Always With Me, Always With You is a very simple melody. It's a very easy guitar part, but god damn, it's fucking, I still this day when I put my guitar on and I play the backing tracks, I love playing a song because the guitar sings the vocal melody so well that I can't picture a human vocalist playing the guitar melody. Again, I previewed the show with, if you know the guitar, the album of Surfing with the Alien, it's the Silver Surfer from Marvel Comics. Back in the day, he paid $1,000 for that album cover. When Marvel Comics was struggling back in the day, it's hard to believe this before the Marvel Comics universe, cinematic universe, but back then he paid $1,000, and they're like, okay, the only caveat is if you ever reissue this album, you have to pay us extra money. So when he reissued the album a few years ago, they had a different cover, but Marvel Comics in Silver Surfer Volume 3, number 13, paid homage to Joe Satriani. There was a comic called, in that comic, there was a planet called Satriani, and it was kind of homage to Joe.
Yeah.
Having the Silver Surfer on his album cover for Surfer and the Alien.
Well, I have a note on that. Piggybacking Dink's wedding songs. This song was highly coveted wedding song for 4 or 5 years. I know several people that had it at their wedding for their first dance.
That's cool.
I can see that. Makes sense. If you've listened to this show or watched the show, you know 2 things about me. I'm a huge Prince fan and I'm a huge Sting fan. I haven't brought up Sting in our previous list before because he's been on the compasses. But my number 2 song is They Dance Alone, the Geika solo from Nothing Like the Sun. A couple things about the song. Number 1, 2 legendary guitarists playing the song, Eric Clapton and Mark Knopfler, both playing the song. Sting paying homage to Dire Straits. Mark Knopfler sings the line
"Money for Nothing,"
and you hear that from that's Sting singing that background vocal. The one thing about the song is it's literally Sting singing about a protest in Chile and actually making a threat to their president at the time. And at the time, it seemed very, very bold. And nowadays, kind of forgotten. But the song is about the only form of protest in Chile, the country Chile, was a dance called the Geika solo. And back in that time, between the middle and the early middle 80s, their president Pinochet would abduct males, where it was sons or husbands, and the only form of protest they were allowed was this dance. They were allowed to do was the Geika solo.
Well, I'll break the mood. I'm craving a bowl of chili. I'll say
I was
that.
going to say, that's heavy as fuck. What's next?
I got some chili con carne. I wish I had a bowl of chili con carne.
I'm just saying, man, the one thing music should do for anybody, and I think we talked a little bit with the Pink Floyd stuff, is it should bring out some kind of emotion to you. It should make you angry. It should make you sad. It should make you happy. Right. And this song does that in so many different ways. My number one is the opposite of that. Woo! Woo! It's a duet that had two big albums in the United States, and after that kind of faltered, but in the rest of the world was huge. The song is called King's Cross from the duet, the Pet Shop Boys.
Wow.
The album is actually, which again, for me, is the perfect album from beginning to end. It's a very socially conscious album about, obviously, the UK. The song itself is a social and political commentary about the UK at its time. And, there's something about the repeating bass in the song, the very airy vocals, and the keyboards are huge that make the song what it is. And the Pet Shop Boys, being a very synth rock pop band at the time, especially being what they were very socially conscious. And this song, King's Cross, is kind of the epitome of that entire genre. So that's my number one.
Oh, wow. I found Pet Shop Boys fans fucking love them.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Like, if you're a Pet Shop Boy, because I'm a so-so. Like, I like their hits. But the people that are diehards are, like, very loyal, very dedicated to the Pet Shop Boys.
Yeah.
Even after they were almost non-existent, right? Like, I love the Pet Shop Boys.
Well, keep in mind too, though, we're non-existent in North America, but in Europe and Asia,
they're huge over there, right?
Absolutely huge over there.
Yeah.
Well, to quote Chris from a previous episode, I know 2 Pet Shop Boys songs, and I've forgotten one.
So West End Girls, it is. Oh shit.
Well, and the other one is a Willie Nelson song, Always on My Mind.
Always on my mind.
That's right. There you go.
You do know too.
That's country. I know some country.
Yeah, that's right. Country getting love.
I forgot about that. See, there it is. So we should probably wrap this up, guys.
All right. As being the host, I will say this. Go back and listen to any album from 1987. You will not be disappointed whatsoever. I guarantee it, no matter what. But my name is Joe. And for Chris, and for Jimmy, and for Dink, it's the immortal words of who?
Son of Megan.
Go fuck
Go
yourself.
fuck yourself.